360 degrees. All right, thank you very much for joining us. Good evening, everybody. Lovely to be here with you today. And thank you so much for your support. Koboko, right, and others. I'm going to call out your name in a bit, but thank you very much for your support. Good to see everybody once again today. Before we get started, like we always do, I'd like to appreciate our folks here on TikTok who have helped to get us to 42.1k likes. Um, that's people like Koboko Ibojinodu. Thank you very much. I'm going to see um, Abby71. Right. Thank you so much for your support. HRH and others. Thank you so much. Please, if you're on TikTok, kindly power tap, right? Please power tap, like the live, and let's share so we can push the live to the FYP. Hello, hello. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Please like the live and share as well on TikTok. If you're joining us on YouTube, we're glad you're here. Kindly like and share the live. Also, to those on Facebook, please like and share the live. Today is going to be beautiful. We're going to have an interesting session today. I'm going to have to get this one down. We still live in yesterday. Many today they waste away. But nevertheless, it's never late. Akínbámi Bonje. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good evening to you too. Sahi Christian on YouTube, good evening. We're glad you're here. Let's check YouTube to be sure we're good, and then we can get started today, Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? Okay. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day, by the way. It's been a very busy day, but busy is good. So today we're looking at a few things. We are going to be talking about updates on the Oriire folks who were rescued. More good news for them. So we'll just revisit some things and some of the new things that have happened since we last met, which was yesterday. Also, something really terrible happened in Kogi State. We'll talk about that as well. And we will talk about an outing that Falz had. It was on Arise, where he said something about Lokan. We're also going to, try and unpack that and perhaps spend some time on that as we look at the origin of that statement and what it really is, regardless of what people would like it to be. For the most part, not to score cheap political points. Also, we will talk about the fake DG and look at things from different perspectives today. And then we'll have the conversation on pension reforms and what happened a couple of days ago with the pension folks. All right. Number one. One second. So I hope we're good on YouTube. Let me just check. All right, I think we're good. So thank you, Koboko, for the Go Popular. Thanks for the gift. If you're on TikTok, please click on this heart icon and join the team. Drop a gift, drop a heart me. These things help the live session. So please support the live by doing that. All right. Now let's get into the conversation. We're going to begin with the Oriire updates. Okay. Mr. Koboko. One day I'll ask for your real name because this is your Koboko thing. Eh? Or in the army, you used to beat people with Koboko. Just okay, good. So let us begin with what happened at the National Assembly in the Senate specifically. You're laughing. Yes, now they're the ones who used to carry Koboko back in the day. All right, so let's get started. So we start with the announcement by the Senate earlier today, actually, of a donation of 50 million naira to support the families of or your teachers who lost their lives during their captivity, as well as the families of soldiers who died in rescue operations. This is from the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio. Please take a listen to this.
Mr. President, and security agencies on the rescue of our children who were in captivity for about 56 years. So from the chief of army staff to the Director General of SSS to the Inspector General of Police to across to the Minister of Defense, and particularly the Commander-in-Chief we also noted the fact that 3 of the personnel who went for the rescue operations lost their lives in the course of trying to rescue those children. Apparently, the female from Ghana was killed. This sergeant was killed. Another private soldier was killed. So, on behalf of the Senate, we decided that also the teachers, 2 teachers that were in captivity with the children, were also mothers. We've taken the motion, we've applauded the government, we've applauded the security agencies, and we are pleading that the same be extended to any other part of the country where they will be in captivity. Especially with the leadership. And I want to also support the families.
I don't know if you can hear that. The sound quality is not very good, but that's what we got from the National Assembly. We hope that things get better, right? But apart from the Senate trying to help, by the way, just in case you didn't hear what was said, I think I should just maybe just read to you from here. The Senate has approved a 50 million naira donation to the families of 2 teachers and 3 security personnel killed during the Oriire school abduction and rescue operation in Oyo State. Senate President Godswill Akpabio said the gesture honors their sacrifice and urged similar support for victims of captivity across Nigeria. That happened earlier today. All right. But apart from the Senate doing that, there's also news from one of the president's spokespersons, Mr. Sunday Dare, who also donated 50,000 naira to each child that was rescued in Oriire local government. Take a listen to this.
So, ní orúkọ olóyè Sunday Dare, àwọn mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dọ́gbọ̀n á yọ̀ǹda kí wọ́n máa lọ lé lórí. Wọ́n ti ṣe ètò náírà lọ́nà 50,000 naira
fún ẹnì kọ̀ọ̀kan wọn tí àwọn ìyókù náà ń bọ̀ so àwọn ìyókù náà ìgbà wọn bá ń lọ wọn gba iye kan náà so ká dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn.
That was a spokesperson to the president, Mr. Sunday Dare, donating 50,000 naira to each child. The first batch of children, 25 of them, have been discharged from the hospital today, or yesterday, and each of them got 25,000 naira, and the rest would also get theirs as soon as they are discharged. But in an interesting turn of events, while they were being attended to at the Lautech Hospital in Ogumosho, it was discovered that one of these children, one of the abducted kids, actually had a hole in the heart. And they discovered that accidentally. The chief medical director of the hospital, Professor Olawale Olakuleyin, was with newsmen on Tuesday, and this is what he said. Please take a listen to this.
It's unfortunate the way people propagate incomplete information. All the children are still being evaluated. Okay, and even if a child has a hole in the heart, it's an incidental finding. The child must have been carrying the hole in his or her heart prior to the incident. It's something that was discovered incidentally. But notwithstanding, information is still ongoing on all the children, and whatever measure that is needed, we shall communicate to appropriate authority. Thank you. Can you have access to the children? We want to say no. Their privacy has to be 100% respected. The professionals are still working on them. Some of them require psychotherapy, that's why they are kept behind. And then when they see a crowd of people, some may panic. And then that will further delay their union with the family. So we appreciate.
All right. That was the CMD of Adokakita University Technology University of Technology Teaching Hospital, Dr. Olakuleyin. And I think some people have also, tried to misinform others by saying, "Oh, what happened was responsible for the hole in the heart," which, of course, according to those who know better, makes no sense. Apparently, the stuff has been there all the while, but it's also good that they're able to discover that, and the treatment, I think they're planning on treating the child because they said the child is stable and there's no cause for alarm. Some of the people that were rescued were interviewed by newsmen, and I'd like you to listen to a number of them. Take a listen to this.
Àwọn bandits náà lọ pa lọ́nà rìsáàpù tó dẹ̀gbẹ́ lọ. Wọ́n sì tún gbọ́ ọmọ mi ní oṣù karùn-ún, ṣùgbọ́n mo dúpẹ́ pé wọn ò fọmọ mi ṣe ní ti bàbá rẹ̀ Ọlọ́run kò yọ.
Wọ́n náà yìí lórí tó ń fi náà yìí.
Pé ká sún àwa ní sùn.
Wọ́n lè kẹ́ sùn ẹ̀ ní sùn. Wọ́n wà máa lù yín. Sáwọn ọmọ sì kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀.
Ìtọ́jú mi rí lórí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ yìí ní ilé sọ́tà, ṣùgbọ́n mo dúpẹ́ fọlọ́run pé Ọlọ́run gba ògo òpó ẹni ká máa dún.
Ajé òkùnbádó ni wọ́n gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe sọ fún yín níjọ́sí tá a wá síbẹ̀ yẹn omijé pọ̀ lójú gbogbo àwọn èèyàn kò sẹ́ni oríra wọn ìlérí tí bẹ́ńdẹ́sì ṣe sọ ni wọ́n sọ yẹn so àwọn gangan tẹ́ rí yìí wọn ò sùn wọ́n dàbàtà bẹ́ńdẹ́ láàmú so kẹ́rin lè mọ̀ wípé ọmọ yín ni wọ́n amúgbálẹ́gbẹ̀ ààrẹ Bọ́lá Tinubu ni wọ́n nílùú Àbújá, senior special adviser on communications. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ni wọ́n ń ta ààrẹ káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé. Wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ dé láti Amẹ́ríkà níjẹta ni. Yẹn fi ní àwọn gbọ́dọ̀ gbé sọ pé àwọn kò ní gba ẹ̀yìn òbí àtàwọn ọmọ.
Tọkọ̀dà lọ́wọ́ tí Ṣèyí Mákindé tó sì pamílẹ̀ rí àti Tinubu àti gbogbo àwọn èèyàn Olúwa ò pa wọ́n lẹ̀ rí. Nǹkan ẹ̀rí ò ní tán nílé wọn.
Ọmọ mi mẹ́rin ìyàwó ọmọ mi kan wọ́n jẹ́ márùn-ún. Ni wọ́n jí kó.
Báwo ló ṣe bí lára nígbà tó kọ́kọ́ ṣẹlẹ̀?
Kọ́lá mo ti fẹ́ kú.
For some reason, it's not playing. Anyway.
Mo ti fẹ́ kú.
Pé ká sún àwọn àyè sùn.
Wọ́n ní bẹ́ẹ̀ sùn ẹni sùn.
Anyway, those are the children that were rescued, and some of them shared their experiences. I don't want to interpret, to be honest, because it's just what they went through. Why? I just say one or two. One said they were beaten, and they were asked why. It was because they didn't sleep when they told them to sleep, and then how they were eating, what they were eating, who was cooking, and things like that. The beautiful thing is that they have been rescued. However, there's a report from TVC News that talks about the fact that there's still fear in the air, right, in that particular part of your state. That is Oriire in Oriire local government area of your state. I'd like you to listen to the report, and then we'll go to other things afterwards. Take a listen to this. I'm trying to fast forward to the part where they're interviewing people, because
only with about half of the students. So what we did was try to encourage them that very soon by God's grace, the remaining students, the students in the groups will be released. But we give glory to God on Friday. God did it, and we were able to, come back to school on Monday. This Monday, I think 2 days ago. So when we were in school already, so we were able to encourage the students to come, because the students and the teachers that were kidnapped, they are already in town. So that will give them the boldness to come around. And by the grace of God, yesterday we recorded the increased number of students in our school. And today we just finished writing letter exam in our school. We wrote English language in our school. So we just finished now. So I'm one of the teachers coordinating and educating the students for the exams.
Are you still going to school in fear? Are you still living in fear?
Well, somehow, because as I was interacting with some of my colleagues now, the fear is still there. We have to be sincere. The fear is still there, because one way or the other, we are still discussing about the situation. So when we mention the situation, when we talk about it, some of them will still be in panic, because coming from Okumoso to work in a village like this, you see, some of the teachers, they are doubting of, they are not very, very sure of what the students has, the government has provided in form of security. So our concern is basically on what governments are doing to boost the security of the whole places. So if the security, the security apparatus are in place, the care will be a little bit down. But presently, because of the fact that you cannot see army, police around us in the school environment. The fear is still there.
One second, please. All right. I think it's understandable that people still have sort of apprehension, right? Essentially because of what happened. I think it's something to expect, but we also hope that the government will, heed their call and provide adequate security in that part of the country. As a matter of fact, in every part of the country. And the Oyo State government also put out a statement where not only did they express gratitude for the safe return of the children, they also um, talked about the folks who lost their lives. And I'm going to read out what they wrote here. The Oyo State government remembers those who lost their lives during the Oriire and Yawota Oriire local government area abduction incident. Civilians Mr. Michael Oyedokun, Deacon John Olaleye, Mr. Joel Adeshiyan, and Mr. Oluwasegun Akoni. Military and security personnel, Lieutenant F.A. Isaac, Mr. Adigun Shaibu, Mr. Issa Saliu, Mr. Rafiu Ayuba, and an unnamed soldier. Their souls rest in peace. All right. While that was happening, now we're obviously members. Something terrible has happened in Kogi State, and I think we should just talk about that very quickly. Right? Give me a second. There's a video. Once you can find the video, so I can play it for you. Okay. I read this from TVC News. Gunmen abduct. This happened today, by the way. Gunmen abduct principal, NECO staff, students during exam in Kogi school. The Kogi State Police Command has confirmed the abduction of 4 students, the principal of Government Secondary School Odo Ekina, and a NECO ad hoc staff following an attack by suspected gunmen at the school in the Ekina local government area. Police Public Relations Officer ASP Saliu Afusat told TVC News that the incident occurred at about 5:25 p.m. on Tuesday, 14th July 2026, while the students were writing the National Examinations Council examination. She said a combined team of the police and other security agencies immediately launched a search and rescue operation and is currently trailing the attackers. There's another report from Governor Ododo, who is the governor of Kogi State. Governor Ododo mobilizes massive security operation to rescue abducted school principal, NECO official, and students. This is from the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Communications in Kogi State. The Kogi State government has mobilized a massive multi-agency security operation to secure the safe rescue of 4 persons abducted from Government Secondary School GSS Olowa in the Ekina local government area during the ongoing National Examinations Council NECO examinations. The operation, directed by the governor of Kogi State, His Excellency Alhaji Ahmed Usman Ododo, FCA, is being coordinated by the State Security Advisor, Commander Jerry Omodara, retired, with the full participation of all security and intelligence agencies in the state. So they talked about the people that are going to be involved in this search and rescue: officers and men of the 12th Brigade, Nigerian Army, Lokoja 21 Battalion, Nigerian Army, Anyigba, the Nigeria Police Force, the Department of State Services, DSS, the Kogi State Vigilante Service, local hunters, and other security outfits have all been deployed to the area. Advanced technology is also being deployed to support the operation, and the encouraging progress is being recorded. That's from Kingsley Demi Fanwo, Honorable Commissioner for Information and Communications. A lot of things are happening at the same time in this country. We just hope that things turn out good, particularly for people in Kogi State in these trying times. All right, moving from Kogi, let's go to something good, some good news. We need good news at this point. One second. All right. This came in from Pensions Commission. I think that's what they're called. I'm going to find you the full name later, but let me just play you the video while I get the name. Take a listen to this.
Work has been made easy because we have a president that is passionate about the Nigerian people, passionate about vulnerable Nigerians, and doing everything in his power to make sure that he puts more money in the hands of the average Nigerian. Early this morning, if I could start this way, somewhere in Nigeria, a retired factory worker checked the alert on his phone. For 21 years, please know this story. That alert read 18,000 naira. This month, as of every single month now, it reads 206,000 naira. By the way, he did not win a lottery. He was not given anything he had not already earned. What changed was simple. His country decided to keep its promise. Today, I want to tell you how that happened and how it is happening for hundreds of thousands of Nigerians like him. Exactly 2 years ago, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu entrusted me with the responsibility of leading the National Pension Commission. As we all know, elections have consequences. Sometimes those consequences are measured in policies, sometimes they are measured in numbers, but ultimately they are measured in the lives of people. A few weeks ago, in an opinion article reflecting on the President's new exit benefit scheme, I made an observation. I wrote that a compelling case was emerging that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu may well become or may well prove to be one of the most pro-worker, pro-retiree presidents in Nigeria's history. At the time, I described the case as emerging. Today, standing before you with 24 months of evidence, I can say that that case is no longer emerging. It is on the record. Because history is rarely defined by one decision. It is defined by a pattern of decisions.
All right. Oh boy, this is my speaker. It is well. You're gonna shock back on. All right, that was the DG of PENCOM, National Pension Commission. The DG's name is Omolola. I think that's her name. Give me a second. I want to get her name correctly. I was just looking at it now, so I'm flustered a bit. Yes, the Director General of PENCOM, Omolola Oloworaran. That's an interesting name. All right, that was the DG of PENCOM, and she was briefing the press at the State House, and that was earlier today, where she talked about how, you know, they've had 2 years of historic pension transformation under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. She, of course, mentioned that normally folks who have been retired used to collect about 21,000 naira per month, but now they receive 206,000 naira every month. Those are pensioners. And it's going to be very difficult for you to convince those ones that Tinubu is not working. All right. And now pension assets has expanded by 51%, rising from 20.79 trillion naira to 31.48 trillion naira. Again, that's from the DG of the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, Omolola Olowuraran. Right, and that's good news. Is something that we really need at this point in time. Having read about a true DG of a true parastatal or government agency, we're going to revisit the fake DGs issue at this point. And this time we're looking at the conversation that happened yesterday on Channels TV with Osita Chidoka, who was the former Minister of Aviation.
Did the board fail? How did Ernst and Young fail? How did the regulators fail? Who failed? So the question is, letter of appointment, does it exist? Yes. Where did he get it from? When he sent it to the Secretary to Government's office, did you accept it without verification? When he wrote to the head of Civil Service office saying we need an office, did you check back to see whether this is procedural? So the point is that a culture has come into Nigeria. The culture that when you say no to something going on, you become a bad person. The culture that we now find it that you go to the National Assembly, you want to pass a bill, it goes first and second reading the same day. Anybody that says 1 minute is seen as an enemy. Skepticism is an important ingredient of government. The ability to ask questions should not be seen as enemy action. It should be seen as an opportunity for improvement. So that failure that led us up till the budget line, we need to have a map of that. I hear the president has asked ICPC to investigate. So ICPC should be open, should be clear. This is a is it right for the president to have asked ICPC? Because the gentleman had raised fundamental questions. Yes. Is that ICPC will not indict the chief of staff. So that ICPC, and there are those who will say, the matter is already in court. Why are you asking an investigative agency to? This is a systems investigation. I don't think it's about indicting people by the ICPC. It's not about the arrest. It's not about the criminal or non-criminal case. They reported him. The government arrested him. They charged him to court. So let's assume that somebody gave him a letter of appointment. Is it fake or original? Is it fake or original? How do you forensically? Have we go back to the office of the chief of staff or whoever the letter emanated from? Check their file for that day. Is there such a letter leaving this office? Okay. So when you pass that, how did all the other agencies accept an inappropriate letter? Because letters of appointment are issued by the Secretary to Government.
All right, one more clip from Osita Chidoka. And here was asked a question if the Chief of Staff to the President has the right to or the power to appoint or employ anybody in the civil service. Please take a listen to this.
No, structurally, sir. Yes. NGF is the engine room of government. Yes. At the federal level. Yes. And so it is also at the state level. Yes. All appointment letters, minister, and even those who work in the presidency get their letter from the SGF. Is that right? Correct. Does the chief of staff to the president have the right or power to appoint or employ anybody in civil service? No way. This chief of staff business is getting out of hand in Nigeria. He is the staff of the president. He is the chief organizer of the president's office. He has no business with the government machinery. He attends the Federal Executive Council. Now, the secretary to the government of the Federation is the person that has the bureaucracy. He has 7 permanent secretaries. He interacts with the government agencies. So if the president creates a council most times, the budget of that council is under the SGF's office. And the SGF is fundamentally wrong with Nigeria. So that's what ICPC so either original or fake. The letter shouldn't have ever emanated from the chief of staff. Absolutely. And
all right, that was Osita Chidoka. I'd like to read you something here. 1 second. Okay, it's actually YouTube. It's a video about the man they're talking about, Adeni Adeyemi, who has now been taken to court, and the court has fixed September 30 for arraignment of that person in question. Give me a second. I'd like to play you that. Once it opens, it might take a minute. I'm going to do free advert for these people. It's not playing, but that's the story, Sha. September 30. So it looks like from now till then, he will be in the custody of the National Corrections Center, otherwise known or formerly known as the Nigerian prisons. I wish him all the best. Also, into this place. I expect to have conversation in this, but I think the one I have is just the plane flying in. I apologize for the distraction. I'm trying to make sure that the other device is working, and I think we're good now. All right, as we wrap up this new segment, and then I want us to do some history today. A few more things before we leave this matter. So apparently, the House of Representatives, they have set aside the state police bill, the one they passed, in favor of President Tinubu's own version. Okay, Nifemi Oguntoye actually broke it down on TVC, and I'd like to take a listen to the breakdown from him, and then when we come back, we'll do some things about Lagos.
You can get more on this particular slide, which compares these two proposals. The difference is obvious. On scope, the House bill held 18 clauses around Section 214. The executive bill, on the other hand, has 26, and it covers issues of structure to the police council. But the executive version adds some more independent state police service commissions and issues of merit-based recruitment for officials of state police. And then you look at the implementation as well. In the case of the House of Assembly, there were limited rollout text, but on the other hand, in this new executive bill, there are clear transitional panels and working groups for a national policing bill. Now, how do things escalate in this new bill? The escalation pathway is what this particular slide shows. And the bill has built in a chain of checks. The first thing is crisis event. A complete breakdown of law and order occurs, and then it sends a red signal for intervention. Of course, there will be issue of state incapacity when a governor requests help or is deemed unable to cope in an insecurity situation. And then it kicks off the next stage, which is federal review at the National Police Council. This will possibly need an intervention or a Senate approval. Only then does federal intervention follow, which is expected to restore constitutional order. So this is one of the most unique aspects of the executive bill. A safeguard that is designed to neutralize the most talked about concern about this document, the historical fear of governors weaponizing state police during elections or even for political suppression. Both the federal and the state police have jurisdictions, and the lines are clearly drawn. You look at this particular circles. The state police handle some pivotal issues which are clearly stated: local crimes, community law enforcement, rapid response. On the other hand, federal police retain terrorism, organized crime, cross-border criminality, and threats. And this is where federal intervention comes in. The federal forces only step into state matters after total breakdown. What you saw in the previous slides, governor's request for an intervention, now at the pipeline to final implementation. What happens after today? 4 steps remain. Of course, we've seen that the bill has already secured 2/3 majorities in both the House and the Senate. The next stage will now be at least 24, 36 states, House of Assembly ratifying it, followed by a presidential assent. That will now be followed by a detailed national policing bill from a panel inaugurated by the president before funding and rollout begin. So it's not a surrender, so to speak, on the part of the House of Reps. It's a necessary evolution, pairing local intelligence with strict federal oversight in what is arguably Nigeria's most significant constitutional reform since independence. Its success will now depend on issues like equitable resourcing, non-partisan execution, and of course, vigilant monitoring by both the civil society and the media.
All right, that was Nifemi Oguntoye from on TVC, breaking down the news about what the House of Representatives of the state police bill. But there's another report that I found quite interesting. I wasn't expecting it. I never expected it. It's of the man, Chief Olabode George, supporting state police. It's quite interesting. I didn't expect that he would, but he is apparently. So I'd like you to take a listen to this. This is from AIT.
Do you think, Chief, having a state police can solve most of these problems we are witnessing now?
I bet you we will not be in this place. Number one, the internal security in each state. Look at the western region. They had something they call Amotekun. The Amotekuns were there, but they were not empowered. Secondly, if we start this police something, this state police, you are going to give employment to millions of these young Nigerians who are helpless now, who are looking for job, who will be so happy to at least be employed, and I feel that they are concerned, and it is the collectivity of that, the whole collectivity of it, that makes a nation to grow. This national police is a must, and I'm happy they have done that, and I am eager for you to start within the next 2 weeks.
So first of all, I'm actually quite surprised that Chief Bode George would support state police for obvious reasons. But I'm glad that the fact that he's in the opposition is not beclouding, his ability to see the good in that bill. So that's actually something really great, and I respect him for that. However, I mean, the best thing you can get in 2 weeks is probably have the state houses of assembly approve the bill. That's the best you can get in 2 weeks. You can't get a state police in 2 weeks. You have to get the 24 out of 36 state houses of assembly approve the bill, and then you have the president assent, and then you have to now go back to National Assembly, where you have to pass the State Police Act, right? And then you now have to go back to the State House of Assembly, where you have to create the structures and establish commissions and so on and so forth. And then you now begin to recruit, of course, based on the law that you have made in each state, laws governing state police, establishing commissions, recruitment and so on and so forth. You then have to recruit, and then after the standards for the National Police Commission and so on. So it's a long process. So I don't think you can get that done in 2 weeks. But I'm glad that he supports, this particular initiative. This is something very, very gladdening. We're going to move away from that very swiftly, and we'll take the last bit of the news, which has to do with Falz. Falz was on Arise News, and he was asked some questions about his new EP, and some of the conversation got into politics because, of course, the EP was about it is about mostly social commentary And then he said this, a lot of obedience say this. I think it has become like a talking point that people actually think is the truth about this phrase, Emiloko. And he repeated it. And I'd like to just stay on that for a bit before I bring people up. So please take a listen to Falz, the bad guy.
More foundations. It's absurd. It's absurd. And like you said, you pointed to this lyric, in the music. It's not even, I haven't made that up. If you look at what has been spent on acquiring new vehicles, acquiring jets, acquiring all these things, and look at what has actually gone on with insecurity and what we're facing, what are your priorities? And you're out here talking to individuals. This is actually your job to do. It's wild.
We said that there's a lot of pressure on the government, so you need to help the young ones.
What do you mean pressure on the government? Did anyone beg you to take up this role? If I remember clearly, apart from the fact that this is public service and you do everything within your power to campaign to enter into office, if I remember clearly, the campaign slogan for this administration was Emiloko. Do you know what that translates to in English? It is my turn. I've never seen anything more absurd than that in my entire life. That means from day one that you set out on your political journey, this is the day that you have been waiting for. So why can you come and say pressure is much on you? Are you okay?
You see, one of the things about being young is this exuberance that with age and with youth, and the assumption that you know exactly what you're talking about, especially when you have no idea what you're uttering. By the way, I like his music, but what he just said right now, the campaign slogan for last election was not Emiloko, it was renewed hope. And that's why every time you see APC or whatever that has to do with the President Bola Tinubu today, you see renewed hope agenda, renewed hope, renewed hope. It was not Emiloko. As a matter of fact, Emiloko had nothing to do with the campaign of the president. Nothing. But again, you see, when you have repeated a thing over and over again, sometimes it begins to become the truth, at least to people who are not able to actually dig a bit deeper. There's a context where that statement was made. I'm going to play you that clip, and then I'm going to talk to us. And at this point, we'll bring people up. Then if we have time, we'll now read the book I was talking about earlier. However, I was saying earlier that there was a context. By the way, let me even say it before we play this stuff. Number one, it was not a campaign speech. As a matter of fact, the statement was made before primary elections. And it was not made with APC people from all over the country. It was made in a specific town hall in Ogun State. And the conversation had to do with the fact that Tinubu had to do what he could to convince people of Ogun State to vote for him during the primaries in Abuja and not for their own son, Yemi Osinbajo, who again is from Ogun State. And so what he did was to tell them what he has, accomplished over the years and what he is up to and why it is done to actually be voted by them to get in there. Let me play you the clip and then we'll talk more about it. Take a listen to this. Ẹkáàbọ láti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ó ní àpèmọ́ra ẹni.
Mo ti sì bọ̀, ọjọ́ ti pẹ́, ẹgbẹ́ kìíní wá, èmi ló kàn.
I'll see if I can find you a longer version. But even from what you just heard, he said, mo ti ń sìn ọjọ́ ti pẹ́.
I have a personal problem with my brother.
Sorry, I don't care about your problem. God will help you solve your issues. All right, where was I? He said, mo ti ń sìn bọ̀ ọjọ́ ti pẹ́. I've been serving you for a very long time. Now it's my turn. He was talking to APC folks who were going to vote in the party primaries, and that had nothing to do with campaign speech. If I find you that longer one, I'll play it. But let's even get to the question they asked. And the question was about what Remi Tinubu said when she talked about how musicians, musicians should support the government, by setting up, NGOs and stuff to be able to help them. I'd like to play you that clip before I then, we go a bit deeper into this whole Lokan matter. Please take a listen to the First Lady, Remi. By the way, let me also say this before I play this. This is not to say that everything the First Lady said I support, everything the Presidency said I support. We can talk about the merits or demerits of a particular speech or a particular stance without having to introduce jokes by making things up and saying this is what they said when they clearly did not say it. All right. Again, just in case people at the back did not hear, the campaign slogan for the last election for APC, as President Bola Tinubu, was not a Lokan, it was renewed hope. And some people's hope are being renewed. If your hope is not being renewed, hold on, it will reach you. Let's listen to the First Lady before we go deeper into this. All right, please take a listen to this.
But our priorities are different. And I think it's high time we started helping those who need help in the country. I want to appeal to our young ones in the entertainment industry. I've mentioned it before, and I will use Akon, a music icon who does a lot of great charity work. They make the Burna Boys of this world, Ashake, all of them, the video. We want to see you with one foundation or the other, helping the poor with your money. Not just good cars are good. A Maybach is good, Rolls Royce is good, but still, you can still help. The burden on the government is huge. You can still help. There are pepper sellers, there are vegetable sellers, there are okra sellers, melon sellers, akara, kuli. Akara is delicious. I can tell you that. And there was once I read an article about a young graduate who said he didn't get a job. And he said he sells akara because he couldn't get a job. And he's in Abuja. We approached him, but I didn't put my name to it. We equipped him more. He now has 12 workers working under him. And he's doing very, very well. So, people should never despise jobs. I entered into Kogi today. I saw job opportunities. Me up here, I've been a classroom teacher. One of my teaching service exercise was I remember Ikole Kiti very, very well. I've never been to Ikole Kiti since then. I'm talking about over 40 years or 40-something years ago. But my experience was great. The memory of the beauty of this nation is there. When you look at this serene environment, I hope you all felt it when you were landing in. And so also it has been to various states we have visited.
All right, so she made some points. We're going to go back to that Imilokon thing. Today, I will play the entire speech because I think it's important for us to actually know, to understand context, or else you become a victim of these terrible narratives. All right, and I've said it before, many Yoruba people who are part of obedient movement are not very good thinkers, and clearly whatever the fad is at a particular point in time, and whatever people say, they just repeat it. They regurgitate nonsense because that's what everybody believes. The context, we'll listen to it today. It's long, but we'll listen to it together. But let's quickly talk about this Akara thing. So she mentioned that, Burna Boy, Davido, and the rest of them should be like Akon, who does a lot of work in charity. How is that a problem? How is that a problem? we all talk about charities. We're going to come back to charity, but I just want to know if that's a problem, all right? And we'll talk about that. Then she mentioned that that these people can actually help. In talking about celebrities, can actually help, people who are selling akara and kuli kuli and so on and so forth. In other words, a little here, a little there will help. How is that a problem? Interestingly, a young man. She mentioned a young man, who had graduated and was in need of money, and then they reached out. They reached out to him and said to support him. Thankfully, the young man now came on social media, made a video saying he was the one, and then he had this to say. Please take a listen to this. His name is Ayo in Abuja. Take a listen.
Mr. Yomani, popularly known as. Good day, everyone. My name is Ayomami, popularly known as Akarayo or Ayoalaka. I saw a trending video of our first lady, Excellency Senator Oriire Tinubu, where she said she empowered one university graduate who sells Akara in Abuja.
There was once I read an article about a young graduate who said he didn't get a job. And he said he sells akara because he couldn't get a job. And he's in Abuja. We approached him, but I didn't put my name to it. We equipped him more. He now has 12 workers working under him. And he's doing very, very well.
Yes. Money came at the right time. In fact, I was buying akara under this tree before. But when I received the money, I was able to build this very befitting food kiosk for myself, where I now sell akara today. Thank you very much, man. I cannot appreciate you enough. The money came at the right time for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate your benevolence and generosity. May God Almighty continue to support you, support your husband, and support your administration. Thank you very much. I cannot appreciate you. God bless you. Amen. I want to use this opportunity to admonish my co-akara seller in Nigeria to stop the act of using nylon to sell hot akara. It can endanger the health of our esteemed customers.
All right, so that's education coming in there. So that's the person that she was talking about that they helped and now has employees working for him, helping to sell akara. But there's some things that the first lady said about, young men, musicians having foundation, so that they're not just buying Maybachs and Rolls Royces. And she said there's nothing wrong with buying those things, but it's also good to give back to society. Now, this is not to say they're not doing anything. I mean, I know that David Adeleke has a foundation, right? And we also know that many of our celebrities do give away, particularly Don Jazzy. I know this because I use Twitter. All right, but I think what she's talking about is something better structured that actually, focuses on a particular thing and helps people economically. All right, and there are many examples in the United States. Here we're always talking about Senate claims. Is American government, so terrible? Is that the reason they have a lot of NGOs working? I mean, a lot of celebrities starting foundations in the United States. Is it because the United States government is actually useless? So when you say things like it's not the one that said he wanted the job, it's not the one that said he wanted the job. Does that mean that you cannot help society if you can? I mean, does that stop you from helping society if you can? Anyway, some examples here from the United States. There is Sir Elton John, but his own focus is AIDS, right? Global health, LGBTQ, HIV/AIDS eradication. So he has Elton John AIDS Foundation. Beyonce has Be Good, focusing on economic equity, education, disaster relief, housing. LeBron James has LeBron James Family Foundation, focusing on education, urban youth development, and family support. And then you have Matt Damon with water.org, global water crisis, sanitation, microfinance. All right. And then, of course, you have By the way, LeBron James also works with. No, sorry. No, not LeBron James. The last one is Rihanna. Just a few examples. Rihanna does Clara Lionel Foundation, focusing on climate resilience, education, emergency response. And of course, she mentioned Akon, all right, who has what he calls Confidence Foundation. It's a non-profit organization in the UK, sorry, in the United States rather. And of course, they have Akon Light in Africa and so on and so forth. The point is, there's nothing bad in trying to copy these things, right? And so if the first lady is telling you to do that, and then your comeback is that it doesn't show that you're actually thinking very properly, because help your society does not mean that the president is saying he doesn't want to do the work or that he has a problem with doing the job. Clearly he's doing it. But of course, there's a reason for NGOs, isn't there? There's a reason you have foundations. And if you don't want to do it, it's okay. But it's not because of Lokan. Now, having said that, I want to spend some time on this Lokan matter. Now, we hear it often. It's been a long time, by the way. This was run up to the primaries in 2022, right? So this year, a lot of us may have forgotten. So I want to try and remind us. By the way, I did go on Facebook. Audio is a lot better now. It wasn't very good last week, but thank you very much for your observation. But it's a lot better now. I'm sure you're going to enjoy, the experience. And if you have any issues, please let me know. All right, we'll work on it as well. All right, what was I saying? Lokan. So it's been a while since that statement was made, and I think a lot of people have, okay. The point is that tí ó bá lè kan máa di ọ̀rọ̀ òkèrè ìṣòro òkè ọ̀rọ̀ òkèrè tí ó bá di kan á lè kan. So apparently ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ti ń lé kan sí ó dẹ̀ ti ń dín ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀. So I want to try and put things in perspective. So please humor me. Let's listen to that speech, and then we'll bring people up, and then you can discuss it in light of what Falz said. But before I play it, I think I should play what Falz said, so that in case you're just joining us, you have the context. All right? Then I'll bring people up later, and then if we have time afterwards, we will get into some history. Take a listen to Falz.
It's absurd. It's absurd. And like you said, you pointed to this lyric, in the music. It's not even, I haven't made that up. If you look at what has been spent on acquiring new vehicles, acquiring jets, acquiring all these things, and look at what has actually gone on with insecurity and what we're facing. What are your priorities? And you're out here talking to individuals. This is actually your job to do. It's wild.
We said that there's a lot of pressure on the government, so you need to help the young ones.
What do you mean pressure on the government? Did anyone beg you to take up this role? If I remember clearly, apart from the fact that this is public service and you do everything within your power to campaign to enter into office, if I remember clearly, the campaign slogan for this administration was Èmi Lokan. Do you know what that translates to in English? It is my turn. I've never seen anything more absurd than that in my entire life. That means from day one that you set out on your political journey, this is the day that you have been waiting for. So why can you come and say pressure is much on you? Are you okay?
All right. So just to be clear, the campaign slogan was not Èmi Lokan, it was renewed hope. But let's just listen to the event where that speech was made, that Èmi Lokan speech. And then hopefully this will help us understand it a bit better. Take a listen to this. Again, warning, it is a bit longer, but you enjoy it. Take a listen.
Láti ìgbà tá a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ lórí AD, AC, ACN, agbé lórí APC, Àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. A fẹ́ ṣe é gbà yẹn. This is me telling you between my life and God Almighty. Buhari ní kí n wá ṣe gbákejì o. Onítorí àkọ́kọ́ tó ń jáde, òun gbé fún ọ̀kadìgbò, flamboyant, fàájì loving, Catholic, pé wọn ò dìbò fún ẹ̀ǹkejì. Òun gbé fún another Igbo who makes you okay. Tó jẹ́ speaker, wọ́n gbà lọ́wọ́ wọn. Wọn ò dìbò fún òun. Ó ní òun rí pé tó bá lọ mú póòpù wá láti Rome, wọn ò ní dìbò fún òun. Bọ̀tí ìwọ Bọ́lá Tinubu, ó ní gómìnà mẹ́fà. O ò tí ì lose election rí. Gbogbo nǹkan jáde ẹ̀ ń wò ní statistics nígbà yẹn, ó fẹ́fọ̀ wá. Oníkàkú ìjọ rọrùn. Ní àti ìdí ibẹ̀ yẹn kó tiẹ̀ jẹ́ ká tó ẹgbẹ́ yìí tán. Ìgbà tá a tó tán, tá a mú àwọn PDP wọlé. Sàràkí rí pé àwọn PDP ò ní rí nǹkan kan tí Buhari bá jẹ́ president, èmi náà Muslim, tí bá jẹ́ vice president, òun ò lè rí senate president ò tún lè jẹ́ Muslim. Mo ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí campaign Madaroni ẹ̀ wá. Mo léèyàn tó jẹ́ Christian, màá mú lẹ̀. Ẹgbẹ́ yóò gbọ́dọ̀ fò, ààrẹ gbọ́dọ̀ fẹ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe mú ẹni tó jọmọ yín sílẹ̀ nìyẹn. Mẹ́ta náà ní kí n mú wá. Orúkọ Yẹmí Kàdóso wà nọ́mbà 1. Orúkọ Wálé Ẹdùn wà nọ́mbà 2. Yẹmí Ọ̀ṣínbàjò wà nọ́mbà 3. Wọ́n wá ní ẹni kí n mú orúkọ mẹ́ta wá. Tí bá mú mẹ́ta wá, mo ṣílẹ̀kùn fólè nìyẹn. Ẹ lè fi kẹrin kún kẹwàá mú kẹrin yẹn. Ẹyọ kan ni máa fún yín. Ẹyọ kan torí èmi ni fẹ́ sọ̀rẹ́ńdà ráìtì mi fún yín. Àwọn ulamas tó ń jẹ́ ògbóǹtagì yìí àáfàá mùsùlùmí wọn wá bá mi. Aago 2:00 sí 3 a lè parí ọ̀rọ̀ láti dá wọn lóhùn pé ókè a ní ẹyọ kan sẹ́. Buhari fúnra rẹ̀ ilé ìfẹsẹ̀ rìn wá ló dá òun gbà kí n fẹ́ ẹyọ kan lẹ̀ kí n ṣe forúkọ Yẹmí Ọ̀ṣínbàjò sílẹ̀ nìyẹn. Ó tọrọ ọbẹ̀ nìyẹn. Ẹ tí gbọ́ lẹ́nu mi rí láti bí gọ́gọ́. Ibi ẹni kọ́ máa sọ yẹn. Ìgbé kó má dàrú, kó má bàjẹ́, orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá káàtì lè débẹ̀ ká gòkè díẹ̀ ìjọ tá a ti ń bàbọ̀. Torí bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ̀ ṣe ṣe. Ìsìn aṣọ dára wà. Mo kàn ní ó tásìkò. Ọ̀rọ̀ yẹ orí tọ́. Tó bá jẹ́ sí ìwé ni, mo kàwé o. Tó bá dẹ̀ yọ̀rọ̀ àgbáyé, èmi lẹ́gbọ̀n. Wọ́n dẹ̀bi méjèèjì tí wọ́n mọ́ ní ìkànṣáájú gbẹ̀gbọ́n. Àpèmọ́ra ẹni dẹ̀yìn. Lágbètè mídìrí. Mo ti ń sìn yín bọ̀. Ọjọ́ ti pẹ́. Ẹgbẹ́ kìíní wá. Èmi ló kàn. Èmi ló kàn. Ìgbà tó yẹ ẹgbà tí Àtíkù nínú ẹgbẹ́ tó bá sọ jẹ́ fẹ́ nà pa. Ọ̀dọ̀ mi ló sá wá, èmi ló kàn. Mo filẹ̀ fún. Ó yọ akéèti inú ìgbádùn. Ọ̀rọ̀ akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ọgbọ́n orí ni kíní. Lóòrù nìṣó, mo gbé lóòrù ìgbádùn síta. Ọdún ó ti lé lọ́dún mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dọ́gbọ̀n sí tí mo ti ń sìn wọ́n bọ̀. Eléyìí tó jókòó lẹ́yìn mi dàpọ̀. Ṣé wọ́n lè sọ pé òun lè di ìdádi gómìnà tí ó bá ṣe mí?
I mean, we get the context, right? Eléyìí fẹ́ ṣe ó wá sọ́dọ̀ mi, mo gbélé fún. Tọ̀hún fẹ́ ṣe ó wá sọ́dọ̀ mi, mo gbélé fún. Níbi tá a bá dé ìsìn, èmi ló kàn. Nígbà tá Àtíkù tó sá kúrò ní kíní, ó kúrò ní PDP, ọ̀dọ̀ mi ló wá, mo gbé fún. Òun ló ṣe presidential candidate. It was AC at the time. Action Congress. Àbí ṣé ACN ni? Then it was Nuhu Ribadu was on ACN with Fola Adeola as vice presidential candidate. Tinubu stepped down. Mo tún jẹ́ kán lọ. Nísìnyí tí wọ́n tún fẹ́ ṣe ti ọba tún fẹ́ ṣe ti Buhari. Wọ́n ní kí n wá di vice president. I said, you know what? I'm not going to become vice president. I have a Christian who can be the vice president. Is Yemi Osinbajo, who happens to be a son of the soil in the particular place where he's making the speech in Ogun State. And he said, I'm going to give you Yemi Osinbajo. Let him work with you, right? So, in other words, 3 times I've had this thing pass over me, and it was by my own volition. I let it go. But lẹ́lẹ́ta kò sí báyìí o, èmi ló kàn. And who is he talking to? He's talking to APC members who would vote in the primary elections in Abuja. And this conversation was held in Ogun State. It was not a campaign speech. It was not a rally. He wasn't talking to Nigerian citizens to come and vote for him because of Lokan. He's talking to people, telling them how much he has sacrificed in time past. He said for 25 years, mo ti ń sin àwọn ará bí. Ó ti lé lọ́dún mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dọ́gbọ̀n tí mo ti ń sìn wọ́n. Lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí èmi ló kàn. Tó bá jẹ́wọ́ náà ṣe fẹ́ fi gbogbo ayé ẹ̀sìn ọkọ̀ máa dín nǹkan kan mú bọ̀ ń bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Who is here who would have ambition and intentionally decide, by the way, this is actually what makes him him. You may have issues with Tinubu. He's not a perfect person. Nobody is. But when it comes to the ability to delay gratification, I don't think many people come close to him in Nigerian politics. I don't think many people come close. Like, you have the capacity, you have the platform, and you can run, but then you choose not to because you have your eyes set on something more or something higher. And then you want your people to also feel like, you know what, they have their place, they can run. So when you had the chance to become vice president, you could have gone for it, but you're like, let somebody else do it. Why do you think they had problems in ADC? Because all of them had ambitions. All of them. Everybody wanted to become president. Until one of them had to run away to another party because he just couldn't stay there. Free spirit, it's not about a person, it's about an idea. Don't make any mistakes. I'm not responding to a particular person. I don't even think he's unintelligent. I think Falz is intelligent. He just doesn't understand what he's talking about as far as this issue is concerned. I mean, it does good music, but when it comes to all this, I think it's mostly exuberance, and it's focused more on what sounds nice rather than what actually makes sense. So, but doesn't mean that he's not intelligent on other things. But anyway, let me continue what I was saying. One of the issues they had in ADC was that every single person who was trying to become president was so passionate about becoming president that none of them would want to, let another person have their place. To the point where one of them had to leave because he didn't even like the idea of primaries. That's Peter Obi, went to NDC. This person chose to let it go in not once, not twice, at least 3 times. And I say at least because there's another case of Senate that could have become senator when he dropped governorship in 2007. The plan was for him to become a senator. He allowed someone else to run. He chose to stay back at home. So you see consistency in sacrifice, in delaying gratification. And again, let me make it very clear. I'm not saying he's a perfect person or a perfect politician for that matter. If you want to talk about his faults, there are many. Just like yours are many. But when it comes to this thing, Lokan, you can't criticize that, and you can't have sense and criticize it. And I'm saying it all hard. No matter who you are, there is nobody who has enough sense who will criticize this speech, understanding the context, the person, and the timing. There is no way you'll be sensible and you criticize it. Doesn't mean it can't be wrong in other things. So, but this particular one, Abba, you to go and serve people for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 25 years, and then when it's your turn to just, don't say me, Lokan, man, will be out there. Let's finish playing this thing. And when he said LA, one of them Governor Dakwa in LA of Ogun State. In other words, your vice president is there, because of me. This person, the governor of the state, is there because of me. It's my turn. Somebody should also come and help me get there. That's what he's saying. And I don't know what will make you not say that unless you are either very naive, stupid, or you're just unnecessarily proud. And if you are proud, who will vote for you in the primaries? Let's finish this thing.
mọ̀ pé òun ò lè di gọ́fúnà láì ṣe iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run àtẹ̀mí. Ọ̀gá rẹ̀ ṣe ó ti dójú ẹ̀ sẹ́yìn. Kò ní ìdí ká kọrin Ògúndé Yorùbá sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀ ní bọ́ọ̀lù fàyàráyé gbá ó gbá wọn sísàlẹ̀ ó gbá wọn sódò. Ọ̀rọ̀ orin kọ́, ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀tọ́ ni. Ó tásìkò náà tá a máa gbà á. Ọmọ tó mówó wálé ni bàbá àti ìyá ẹ̀ máa yan rìn. Agbára yìí kò ń ṣe fún Òkè Ọya nìkan. Tí ò bá sí àwa èmi tí dúró wájú ní ti lérí ogun. Ti ní òkè Buhari nìṣó ká máa bá lọ. Kò ní jí president. Ó ṣe kìíní olùlẹ̀. Ó ṣe kejì olùlẹ̀. Ó ṣe kẹta olùlẹ̀. Ó jẹ́ sọ́kọ́ lórí tẹlifíṣàn. Pé láyé òun ò dọ̀rọ̀ mọ́. Mo dẹ̀ lọ bá ń gbà lónìí wa rán ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀gbọ́n kọ́ lélẹ̀. Àdúró tiẹ̀. Wàá dẹ̀ wọlé. Ògọ́gọ́ ní pé o ò ní fọ̀rọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá ṣeré. Ó dẹ̀ gbà. Adijọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ jí débẹ̀. Mi ò gba mínísítà. Mi ò gba contract. Mi ì tọrọ ọbẹ̀. Mi ì tọrọ gàrí. Mi ì tọrọ fúra lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Mi ì dẹ̀ ìyàwó ń bẹ̀. Ó wá ní lọ́tẹ̀ yìí o. Yorùbá ló kàn. Tá a bá dẹ̀ sá Yorùbá náà, èmi ló kàn.
The second part of this Lokan thing, the first one was about personal sacrifice. The second one was about ethnic politics. This speech will be studied for years to come in political science or political history, whatever it is. As far as Nigeria is concerned, this speech will be studied. He said what he did for Buhari as a person, and then he said, in other words, it's not the exclusive preserve of folks from the north. He said what he told him at the time was that, listen, no matter what you do, we can, he said Buhari tried the first time, he failed. Olule, second time he failed, third time he failed, and then he was crying on TV. They had a meeting, he told him, you don't have to cry, you're going to win. We're going to work together and you'll win next time. And then the only thing he wanted, according to him, was that Buhari should take care of Yoruba people, Yoruba land. And Buhari agreed. And now he's saying that, listen, these guys have had it from the north again and again. It's not the exclusive preserve. It's not like you can't, other people shouldn't be able to aspire to that office. So you know what? Yoruba Lokan. They've had their time. They've had their turn. It's our turn. But when you look at Yoruba people, among Yoruba people, I'm the next person. I'm the right person to go. Again, I see nothing wrong in this. Unless, of course, you are naive or bereft of ideas or wisdom. That's what you see. Listen, I don't mind people criticizing stuff, but they're just some things. There are some things that you just cannot controvert. I could say it's my opinion. Yes, and I'm sharing it. And if you ever sacrifice anything for anybody, you understand that there's no way on earth there's anything wrong with this. At least with the speech. Let's finish it up.
tẹ́ bá wà nù aeroplane wọ́n ní tí oxygen bá fail tí face mask bá yọ bó o ti ẹ̀gbọ́n mẹ́ dání sí ẹsẹ̀ má má fi kíní ẹsẹ̀ nù ẹ̀ náà wàá kọ́ fi sojú ara ẹ̀ tó bá kọ́ fi sí ẹnu ẹ̀ tó bá change tó bá protect rẹ̀ ní kó tó protect ọmọ tó gbé dání àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ eléyìí tí mo protect àwọn ọmọ tí mo gbé dání tó náà fẹ́ ṣe present. Mi ò fẹ́ kán pa ní mọ́tò. Mo ti adopt gbogbo nǹkan tí everything said by Kazeem Shettima. It is very true. And the helicopter only after 6. 6:30, wọ́n á ra gbọ́ wa ní Ìkẹjà. A máa tún gba padà lọ láti Ìkẹjà lọ sórí ya. Ẹni tí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ fún ojú pé etí yín ò ní gbóyún kùn, inú yín ò ní bàjẹ́. Ẹ̀mí ni kẹ́ ẹ dúró tì. Ẹ̀yin delegate ló wà bí Ọlọ́run lè sọ̀rọ̀ yín delegate o. Ọlọ́run á gbọ́ ti yín o. Á gbọ́dọ̀ ọmọ yín o. Àwọn ọmọ yín náà wá jù wá lọ. Ẹ má fẹ́ gbo ìṣègbò lé o. Gbogbo wa ọmọ lé ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ o. Ìdọ̀bálẹ̀ nìyí o. Mo dọ̀bálẹ̀ fún yín o. Ẹ ṣé o.
When he said the magic fi ṣe gbòlé o, you know what he's talking about now? A borrowed speech pattern from Akintola. Yes, when he said the indelicate, when I call it indelicate, that was Akintola style. You're right, Dr. Badru. You're right. Indelicate, when I call it indelicate, that's how Akintola will play on words. Beautiful stuff. And then Sema Fisher Gbole, Gbogbo Alomole. What's he saying? Sema Fisher Ore Gbole, Gbogbo Alomole. Omole in the sense that Entwalati Ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn. That's Professor Yemi Oshibajo. Don't say you want to make it a kinsman affair. In other words, want to vote for one of our own. We are all from this place, so Omole Gbogbo wow. Mo dobale fún yín o. That's brilliant speech. But Obedience, for the last 3-4 years, I've been going to town talking about how, he said a Lokan. And Falz had the guts to actually go on live TV and say the campaign speech or the campaign slogan for the last election was a Lokan. How now? As we speak English, let's also let's understand how things work. So when we're speaking from, our opinions are informed essentially, rather than just following the bandwagon of, folks who prefer talking points and nice sounding nonsense. All right, that's that about that. Let's see if we have some people who want to speak on these things, and then if we have time afterwards, we'll discuss some history today. I think we have a guest or someone who is trying to come up. A request. Let's have you. Oh, it's Bumblebee, so you know the drill. I'm going to invite others, Sha. Good evening, Bumblebee.
Evening, Prof. Wow. everything I wanted to say this evening, all my contribution, you actually beat me to it. And
Oh,
Dr.
wow.
Badru as well. When I was listening to that, I dare to say that speech was what unified the Southwest for him to a very large extent. Because when you think about all the speeches you've played to us here, both for Akitola, those speeches they made in Yoruba, those speeches were directed at the Yoruba grassroots. This is what people don't get. This is where you win your elections from. Win your grassroots. All them they know what they are doing. When they are saying Alakara, Onikulikila and all that, those are the people that will vote for them. They are catering to their grassroots already. When politics is, when they're already playing from day one, they're already playing politics. All those roads they're building, connecting the northwest to the southwest, the Sokoto Badagry road. They have already done campaign in that region, whether you like to say it or not, whether you admit it or not. The Lagos Calabar road, the entire south. They've done to shake grassroots politics here already. Campaign yet wale. There's nothing you can tell to those people that they won't give to Tinubu a second term. This is what people don't understand. All these Twitter bots, nonsense on Shikakiri, which is, of course, it's quite disappointing. But what do you expect? It's just Falz echoing everything that the obedient people have been saying to them. The obedience online propaganda machine. That's what it is. And this is why you have to be careful. And this is why we have platforms like this. It's your job to educate yourself. Ignorance is not an excuse. Ignorance is not an excuse. That you don't know doesn't mean that people that want to play you are not going to play you. It's your job to go out there and sift amongst all the noise going on to know what is right and what is wrong. That is just the reality of what's on ground. I was, when you were playing this Lokan speech, I was like, man, this is why you need to learn your language. Private school, because when it's time for them to do grassroots politics, ṣé English ló fẹ́ máa fi sọ gbogbo nǹkan tó ń sọ yìí ni pẹ̀lú gbogbo òwe tó ń pa àtọ ọ̀rọ̀ àyálò tó ń lò and everything. You will say it in English, àbí wọ́n kàn máa wẹ̀ pé lè kò tí mọ̀ nǹkan. And when you talk about the Southwest region, there's the Egba Ijebu politics, there's the Lagos politics, there's the Oyo Osun politics, there's the Ondo Ekiti politics. You have to unify all these people. You have to approach people in the grassroots. You have to approach what I would call political heavyweights in those places, and you have to get buy-in from them. And it is in those grassroots, all these congresses, all these conferences, all these meetings and all, where you deliver some of the speeches, that you get buy-in from them. Even when some people are already having double mind, that when you give speeches like this, when you present your case like this, then they'll be like, just support any. And of course, before you make this kind of pitch, you'll have talked to one or two people that are in the godfathers and all those people, of all those sub-regions. You can't do that. So how are you going to do that? Is it where you want to start this kind of conversation from? I want to, or Anambra, or Enugu. I want to, in the sense, grassroots conversations. They are not even unified. In their mind, everybody is a god to himself. How are you going to unify your people? So these are the things we are saying. For me, it's an instant classic. When you talk about the speeches by Bola Ege, by Akitola, this is exactly what came to my mind. And I can tell you that in the next 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, when you have another Busuyu Oris that is having a program like this, they are going to play this and people are going to have an appreciation for it. Thank you very much, Prof.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that brilliant submission. And I agree with you 100%. Thank you so much also, Tidan, for the marvelous confetti. Thanks for the gift. All right. I agree with 100% with what Bumblebee said. Right. This speech will be studied for years to come. All right. And it's a brilliant, brilliant speech. Brilliant speech. That's why I said the man is not perfect, but when you understand the circumstances surrounding that speech and the context itself and the space, the time, all those things, there's no way you can fault it, in my opinion. And like I said, and I'm not saying there's nothing he said wrong, but I'm just saying that Lokan thing, perfect budget. Anyway, let's go to the next speaker. We have Madam Mimi up here. Good evening, Madam Mimi.
Hello. Yes, sir. Mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Falz, first of all. Kan tí mo notice ni pé Nigerian social media, àwọn èèyàn tó wà ńbẹ̀, a lot of the people seem to be, tó ń drive public opinion níbẹ̀. Igbo traders and Uwaboy apprentices. Because by virtue of, unlike Mamaton Tata àti Ẹja Lọ́jà, àwọn traders ṣe wọ́n máa lo phone wọn as calculator, wọ́n máa lo tọ́gà wọn bá rán wọn ṣẹ́ káàkiri. So I think they just buy phone for a lot of their illiterate boys and, just give it to them. Because the quality of discourse in Nigeria láti 2023 is very poor. When I'm surfing the internet and I'm going from Nigerian TikTok to American TikTok and other TikToks, I can tell already because the quality of conversation ó yàtọ̀. And so because àwọn people more demographic, àwọn tó ń gbé phone tó máa ń bully everybody, they pander to them. They pander a lot and they feel that àwọn ló máa lọ wo movies wọn, àwọn ló máa lọ stream music wọn. So you find people like Davido, Falz and all that trying to please the Igbos, forgetting that àwọn tó tiẹ̀ wà lórí internet, the traders and their boys pọ̀ nù wọn in critical mass. Not really the people that go and buy go and watch Funke Akindele's movies. Otherwise, Yorùbá ò ní say ní Nollywood bí Funke Akindele ṣe máa ń gross 2 billion, tí Tóyìn Abraham gross 1 billion. If it was determined by social media popularity and this demographic that bullies everybody, they will not be making it. So I really hope that Folarin gets his bearing back and that his mom, at the very minimum, I'm not even talking of his dad, that his mom, who is not really in the public eye, can bring him back to his senses. Because it's the same thing, Fayose made money under his brother, but ó fẹ́ panda nítorí wípé ó feel pé àwọn audience yẹn wọ́n máa ń ní influence. Then I want to leave Falz to talk about gbogbo problem Nigeria ethnically. We talk about good leadership. I man compare Nigeria with leadership in the West, leadership America. They also need to compare to the followership. The quality of followership, that's what Mrs. Tinubu was alluding to. You don't see Jay-Z, Rihanna flexing with cars in America. They've passed that. Because they only afford Maybach, only afford anything. So what they flex with is what they're doing in the inner city, what they are doing for the people, for their community. I mean, there's a story to Lonnie TikTok by Nolan Wells, boy to Kuni, Mississippi. Tyler Perry, Tim Loma fund funeral. Colin Kaepernick, footballer, ma fund the autopsy KG. It's the things they do that is organized in their community that's non-governmental that actually makes America what it is. Most of the social things, tell me, man, benefiting. Be one hospital bill until they afford one for your conile, domestic violence shelter. It's church and private organizations. Private charity don't run America. In fact, some of the universities that we all mention now today, they were started by the church. Church loan Harvard. So the private sector is actually the reason why the West is beautiful. Their governments, as you live here, you find out that they have deficiencies. One jali, right now, jali. Insider trading, contracts. US government contractor ni. See, government will patronize SpaceX. So if the US government patronizes your business, then you are more likely to be rich. That's why everybody comes here, because government contractor ni everybody. If you go to sam.gov, anybody can supply anything to the US government. But read the biggest contracts. So that as they are talking about bad leadership, they should also be talking about the poor quality of our followers. Will followers set up fake drug? Will followers start manufacturing fakes? No. So I like to always redirect Igbo people to the conversation. I discuss topics to minus. They don't like talking about faking and adulteration industry that kills hundreds of thousands of people because they know. And it seems as if you are selective in looking for good governance, which is not the case. We don't want selective good governance. If Obi cannot obey the rules and park normally, Why do I trust that he has integrity to not steal? It goes both ways. So my own concern is it seems as if there is no inter-ethnic conversations, and as if reasonable people inside more. Because Lagos has 25 million people. The dream of every high schooler in the East is to be in Lagos. Tí wọ́n bá fi ọgbọ́n máa continue bí eléyìí, Lagos will have about 50 million people spilling over to Ogun. Ondo Tomati is in touch with the government to bring corporations like AutoZone into Nigeria. Ṣé gbogbo Ládìpọ̀ yẹn kò ju AutoZone 20 lọ. AutoZone is a chain that sells spare parts. Kò ju store 20 lọ. Gbogbo Alaba kò ju Costco store maybe 10 or 15. Kò tó yẹn gan sef. So we need to organize ourselves, and like you always say, organization is the solution to disorganized people. You want to get rid of, until you don't like dysfunction, regulate yourself. We need to bring the big distributors of drugs and big generic makers to manufacture to more. I mean, I once worked for a company whose factory is almost as big as the entire Isolo. That's the size. We're not talking shit. We need to bring them, because that would be a disincentive to importing cheap generics. Once they are making them more, because all the stores, it is because nobody is really thinking about the big picture, the macro level. I want Yoruba once you understand Six Sigma, every Yoruba town you see, once you scale, once you reproduce everything, Odofin Wambe, Oshodu Wambe, the street names are the same, the chieftaincy titles are the same. Even before the days of Six Sigma, Yoruba leadership understood the importance of scaling, reproducing, and building organizations. So this is my own challenge to everybody. If you are an engineer and you can come and talk to corporations like AutoZone, and spare parts like America, they sell everything. Come and talk to them. They will come there. To government to support. Come and talk to big drug manufacturers. They will come there and chase these guys out. Big generic manufacturers. So that's my own. And we need to get out of this mode of social media pandering. I think that's the problem with a lot of Yoruba celebrities. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Madam Yumi. And yes, I agree with you 100%. A lot of us need to understand that many of the things that we're doing to pander to people, for the most part, is absolute nonsense, because what there? That's one. Number two, I also think that when it comes to what she was saying, rather than even, I think it's also an opportunity for us as a people, right? When we see what's happening in different sectors in our society, we can actually recreate the things that we have seen abroad. All right. So you've lived in the US, you lived in Europe, you lived in the UK, wherever you've lived, you see how things work. And if you've not done this before, maybe this is what we should begin to do. So I'll say this, two things. Number one, if you've studied the system already, then you can begin to think of how you can replicate that in your own context in Nigeria, on Yoruba land specifically. All right. So what that means basically is that you're moving from knowledge of a system in the US to, thinking of how to make it happen, your proposal, your business plan, the folks that can help support it, investors and things like that. Number two is actually going to just about every one of us, particularly those who live outside the country. I think it's important for us to, while enjoying the system, in the spaces that we live in, to study those systems, so that we actually know exactly how those things work, so that we can then come back home and recreate that. All right, because yes, it's good to talk to some of these companies, but it reminds me of say KFC, for instance. Of course, there's KFC all over the place in Nigeria, but before we had KFC and before we had I don't think we even have McDonald's in Nigeria, but we have Burger King. Before we had those people, Mr. Biggs was in there, UAC was in there, and then after UAC, of course, you had Tantalizers, you had Swiss Sensation, and those companies. The point I'm trying to make is that whilst it would be nice to have companies in the US who are already doing these things, many of us can actually also look at these things as opportunities in our land and say, okay, this is a very area, very good territory in there, and create something there. And I think once we begin to do it, you see how it should be work on item 7, they sell party jollof rice. It started in University of Ilorin. I mean, it started in Ilorin, close to the university here. And now he has a franchise, has branches all over the place. He's in Lagos, different parts of Lagos. He's also in Ibadan. He's in different parts of Yorubaland now. And hopefully he's going to scale and even get bigger. We can do that in tech. We can do that in spare parts. We can, and that's another thing. You think, and from what Madam also said, you think what's the word now? It's a bit, your thought process is a bit broader. So you're thinking business rather than trade. Again, there's nothing wrong with trading, buy and sell. There's nothing wrong with it. But trade is only one part of business. There's a lot more that goes into it. And from what she's saying, I think it's something that we already do and we can do even better. So when you see things are not working, perhaps the answer is in your hands. And I've said this before, I'll say it one more time. It's a recommendation in case you have not watched it. And there's no way I'm going to play it here for us to watch. So I'm going to recommend again. Okay. Please watch The Men Who Built America. It's a documentary. It was produced by History Channel. Fantastic stuff. Most of what we say we like about all this, particularly United States, particularly US. In Europe, it's a bit different. But when it comes to the United States, most of what we celebrate about that country is not so much what the government has done for them. Rather, it's what people have done for themselves. It's actually in the hands of private investors, private initiative. They're the ones who are driving the innovations that we see. Of course, government also helps. All right, there's a government patronage. You can't, wish that away. But when it comes to innovation, when it comes to ideas, just as government can help, individuals can also help. So perhaps you're the answer to the problems you have been, or answer to the questions you've been asking as far as Nigeria's issues are concerned. So let's all, get in the game. Having said that, I'd like to appreciate those who gave gifts or were, listening to Madam Mimi. Tidan, thank you so much for your gifts on TikTok, and GK Homer on YouTube. Thank you so much for your gifts. So you can give super chat on YouTube just as you can give gifts on TikTok as well. Thank you so much for your generosity. Let's go to the next speaker, my battlefield. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thanks so much. Very nice session. Although I wasn't too, I was going in and out. My regards to Bumblebee and Madam Mimi. Fantastic. They spoken most of the things I wanted to say, but I will actually probably elongate it further. You see, the ubiquitous of the internet has actually ruined things for our young people. And the people driving the conversation are warehouse economists. You see, and our people don't really know that those people, they are traders. That's why you hear, whom education help. All those silly things. And if I speculated, it has really ruined our young people. And that's why I'll tell you, I've mentioned it before. I've got few friends who studied Yoruba. Their English is fantastic. And now, from our conversation so far, I realize that for you to have a good grasp of other languages, you must be grounded in your own mother tongue, which is your own window to the world, your own reference point. I get my point. That's why you see Tinubu, you see, Yoruba is so rich that you have 3 meanings, just ordinary meaning, deep meaning, and deeper meaning. When Yoruba starts talking, right? That's why you see those people, they say they speak Yoruba, but if you speak real Yoruba to them, they are lost. People think you're Yoruba, they think Lagos is everything in Nigeria. No. That's why you have to see Nigeria in a wider sense. You have to see the full picture of Nigeria. That's why I'm actually commending the Mr. Bumblebee and Madam Mimi. Fantastic discussion. And I think that discussion should not end here. I've been telling people in the West, what propels the West economy is the organized charity. We have organized charity in the sense that you do things, they have the incentive of you doing things for charity. It will be anyway. So I'd rather do it than pay my use to pay tax. So and I'll be leaving a legacy. Okay. Another thing I want to tell people, they expand it. They don't just give will to their children. They give will. They give inheritance to organizations, to university for them to have shares there. I mean, share in terms of opportunities, in terms of prices, in terms of scholarship, in terms of sponsorship. Nigeria should graduate to that extent, whereby we'll be able to give things to people instead of wasting money and buying cars. I think that was what the first place we were alluding to. But because of short-termism and people are so anally retentive that they are so low that they cannot see the bigger picture. You see, sometimes you don't need to use your but in Nigeria now you have to because those people, I don't know, maybe we have to start afresh in terms of even our so-called intellectuals. I see people who call themselves intellectual and see for you, I think that disturbs me. With all the videos, the interviews we've been listening to, and someone still championing for Obi, that's why I've challenged people so many times. Tell me why you voting for Obi. Nobody, I've never seen one, and I've been on so many platforms. Nobody has been I've been bold enough to say I voted for Obi because of this. Because people are so shallow. They want to be pandered to, and they want people to pander to them. Because they are scared. Because people during the narrative, they are warehouse economists like Obi. They said this thing, and people want them, they want their traffic. And that's why people are not ready to tell people the truth. Our conversation is so low now. If you visit TikTok, you see the type of discussion we have. They say, oh, I'm only cruising. Cruising to where? Are you going to London? Are you going to Spain? It's so bad that we need to start changing the narratives. And I actually implore you, probably you're part of these people. Having this conversation here is part of it. And I cannot commend you enough for the work you've done. You've changed so many people's mindset. You've helped me personally as a person. And I could see the changes when I read people's discussion online, people answering to posts, commenting on posts, and I could see your fingerprints there. I said, this is Busuyi. I can see, honestly, you may not see your reward. When you get to heaven, you will see your house is there. In my father's house, there are many mansions. So I cannot thank you enough for doing a good job, because I'm fed up feeding on junk. We are feeding on junk online. So many very silly conversations we are having. We shouldn't be having. Like those are your people now. They are at home now. People are saying, "Oh, how did they get released? Is he rescued or released? Are you their family?" Those are their family. They won't even know. They don't want to care whether you are released or rescued. They are at home. I think we've really killed. We've really pied our own emotions here now. We've pied emotions. That's why sometimes I don't always agree with people when you are being emotional. Being emotional is part of being human. I get my point. It's not a negative thing, but you have to balance the two. So that's just my conversation for you now, because we need to change the way we do things in Nigeria, the way our people talk. And that's why I will employ people. If you're a parent, make sure your children are well grounded in their mother tongue. It will really expand their scope. Okay? So in my own case, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You said something I was laughing about, and I think it was Oduakala who just wrote something really. I mean, that's what I was thinking of Oduakala. So let me not clap for you. So it doesn't look like I'm clapping for you against him. But thank you. He said I'll get a lot of mansions in heaven, and then Oduakala says you need mansions on earth as well. Absolutely. So we'll get in heaven and we'll also get on earth. But jokes aside, the beautiful thing about it also is that I'm very happy that the message is getting out there. There are more people also talking about things like this, you know, because the more we know, the more we discover there's still more to learn, and when we share, that way we are also helping to enlighten the rest of us. So it's good to have many people speak. And it's funny when sometimes people even send me. I mean, people tell me exactly what I've said, but maybe let me not go into the details. But people say some interesting things. I'm like, but then they'll say it. I'm like, okay, that's good. It's good because that means that they've made it theirs, and that's how things should be. So thank you very much for that submission. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to take as many responses because I'm trying not to go into a new topic, because like I said, I want to be closing early, so that way I can come on a daily basis. So at least Mondays to Fridays. And in case you're joining us for the first time, we have these sessions Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. if your time West African time. Almost Aleko says, Prof, your reward is here, not just in heaven. I beg. Amen. 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 And thank you very much, my battlefield, for that wonderful submission. And all of us will be rewarded on earth. It's actually an interesting prayer if you think about it. Let's bring some people over. I saw low. Okay, so let's do this way. I'm going to get more people to speak. And then if I have to say any other things, we'll be around this topic. Then tomorrow we can move on to maybe history or something, depending on the news that we have tomorrow. So let's have Olowu. Olowu, you have to tell me how to pronounce your name, please. I think it's Olowu.
Yeah, Olowu Oduru.
Oduru?
Yeah.
Emma, you know, kini tumo Oduru? Ṣé oríkì ni?
Yeah. Ọmọ Olowu Oduru. Àwí ìmẹ́nu kúrò ní Tòwu. Yeah.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
That's
Thank you for coming up. I see you often. This is your first time coming up, right?
No. I come up, but ó ti pẹ́ tí mo ti wá sókè. Ó ti ṣe díẹ̀ tí mo ti wá sókè. Most of the time I
You are
always...
Owu, abi?
Yes. Owu in Abeokuta.
Oh.
There's a way in Abeokuta, there's a way in
Thank you for
Ijebu.
coming up. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Ẹkáàbọ, thanks for coming up.
Yeah,
let's go on.
So, it's been a while, and well done. We are getting there. We are getting there. So, I don't have so much to say. I just want you to know that your work is going everywhere. And sometimes I would just be on TikTok listening to some people. I'll be like, yes, I want classmates who want So, like our school of thoughts, the Yoruba, not just a Yoruba that is aware tó mọ bí ó ṣe jẹ́ èèyàn pàtàkì sí, tó mọ bí àwọn ancestor ẹ̀ ṣe jẹ́ èèyàn pàtàkì sí. So from that point of view, a lot of people are getting the message, and it's not even about today's politics, it's about identity. It's about identity. So your message is getting there, and everybody is hearing, and it will go far. It will still go. So I want to say, anytime I just want it to be like that conference that you'll be doing. I want it to be like anytime that you have chosen a place or whatsoever. So that will be when I will be coming in, because I'm not around. You understand? So my invite àwọn èèyàn tí mo wish kí wọ́n wà níbẹ̀. Tó jẹ́ pé my invite àwọn èèyàn, different people, then I will be willing to support. I just want it to have direction. Emma update wa tàbá ti mọ just basic thing tó bá ti wà nílẹ̀, owó la máa fi support àwọn tó jẹ́ lè fi availability support náà kí wọ́n support, That is what I want to say. If you don't have money, you don't have to give money. If you just be available and support volunteer and everything, then our tati low in one láti fi support our supporting now. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Olowu Oduru. That's a beautiful name to even start with. I mean, the fact that it's Oriki, it's beautiful. So thank you very much for your submission. And again, I'm glad that the message is getting out. May God love you. And thank you for recognizing these things. I'm so happy. And then he mentioned, just in case you're hearing what he said about the summit for the first time, we're planning. We've been working on it for just a little bit of time, but before the end of this month, we'll begin to have certain conversations, maybe not on here, about the summit. It's called Two Summit. Two meaning the tribes of Ududua. The idea is to have monthly events. Like we've been online for about almost 2 years. I mean, I've been online for longer than that, clearly, but discussing these things for about 2 years, and we have a bit of reach, thankfully. We want to begin to have physical events, conversations with individuals, with ourselves. Thank you so much for the gift, everybody. Olamide Olakwe, Olarewaju, thank you, sirs, and the ladies. Thank you. So we've been doing this, right? What we want to do now is begin to have physical events where we share the thoughts that we have, just like we're doing here. But that way we get to also rub minds, and we also have a game show called Redomi Republic. We'll get into the details later. The reason I've not talked about it in the last couple of days is because of what he just said, interestingly. So we're also working behind the scenes to see if we can get something sorted, and they'll give you like definite stuff, what you're expecting. But just in case you haven't seen that stuff, let me just show you this in case you want to be part of it. This will help you understand a bit more what we are working on. So this is Two Summit. Right, that's Two Summit. And you can join the movement, you can give, you can volunteer, you can host, you can sponsor, and I think I should do it in such a way that you'll be able to see everything. We're going back to the submissions, so just give me a second. Let's quickly do this so that I'm happy. All right, so if you look at it, you see give, volunteer, host, and the last bit that's a bit covered is sponsor. And to get more information, please go to, or to know how you can participate, please go to linktree/Busui There are forms for giving, forms for volunteering, forms for hosting, and all those things just helps us to know exactly where you want to, how you want to be involved, and that you're also joining the movement. You want to work with us to ensure that we get this thing done. We want to get the message to every young person who is Yoruba, and also our elders. I think it's also important for our elders to know that all our I know I'm because I was talking to. Okay, let me just show you this before I tell you who I was talking to. So please go to linktree/Busui or you can go to our Telegram channel, Redomi Global. You find the links, click on it, and then if you want to give, like you said, you can use that link. If you want to volunteer, using your skills, your gifts, your your connections, whatever you want to do to help, please use that platform. If you want to reach out to me directly, maybe to sponsor, please reach out to me on Telegram at Busui Oris and also on WhatsApp at Busui Oris. All right. So I was saying something earlier that I met with an older man. It's a politician from the Third Republic, actually. Third Republic. And we were saying something about Yoruba history, Nigerian history, and how it affects Yoruba people. And it got to a point where it was like, I didn't know that there are young people like you. I mean, no matter how old you are, you're young to many people. So, of course, I'm a very young man to this man. This man, they have seen it all. I was like, I didn't know that young people like you, have conversations about things like that, that even know things like this. I'm like, yeah, they are normal. So it gives them joy, and they're able to share deeper things because no matter how much you've read, there are certain things that they know that you have not read yet. My mentor will share things with me. I'll ask him, can we find these things written? Because I can't even see them out. There are things they will tell you, it's just for you. There are things they'll tell you that you can share, but hopefully, like my mentor had to give me a book So when I talk about stuff, I can say according to this and that. But there are things that they share that it's not because they want you to go and tell people. They just want you to be grounded in the knowledge you have. So having such events like Two Summits, helps us to have such people around to talk to us and pour into us, and that thereby we learn. So even if we're doing just once a month, or maybe once a quarter, but want to see if you can do it once a month, first of all, it would be lovely. The plan was to go from school to school, but it looks like most people that are, showing interest are Lagos based. So it might start there, or maybe it might even be there on a consistent basis. We'll see how that goes. But the point is, it's a platform that's important, and we need to go beyond having online conversations, which is important as well. We can have both. We can walk and chew at the same time, apparently. So daily, we'll still be meeting here, but monthly, we'll be having the physical event. So it's called True Summit, and your support will be highly appreciated. I'll tell you more about it, what we're doing, and the venue, what the event's about, and stuff like that in the coming days. All right. Thank you very, very much. Before we go to the next speaker, Olamide Olaokwe, it says, that is how important oral history and lived experience enriches discourse, frames ideas, and concepts. Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things I learned, and I should say this before I move on to the next speaker, when I was in school, so, I mean, you must have known, I went to Ife. So, I had a series of assignments in school that required me to go to the field, essentially doing ethnography. So I had to go to my family house, which thankfully is also in Ife. And I discovered something every time I went home to talk to the elders. Thankfully also, we had to record those conversations, so it's good that one still has them. But every time I went home to talk to them, I discovered something that the elders are willing to share. They want to talk. They want to, share their experiences. But many young people don't really care because we're too busy trying to get things sorted. We're trying to get money and take care of family and stuff. But listening to them can actually help you take care of family better or make money better. All right. So hopefully with sessions like that, we can also have them come around and share their thoughts. We have them here, by the way. Some of them just watch, and I'm grateful that they come. But it would also be nice to hear more of them. And we also hear some of them, like people on the stage right now. So I'm glad, for that you've done. All right, let's move on with the speakers. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Olowu, for that brilliant submission. I'm going to bring up two more people. We're going to have Dr. Badru share his thoughts right now. Good evening, Dr. Badru. And those who are coming up, please mute as soon as you get up. Thank you so much. Isaleko. Dr. Badru, are you there? Okay, I think maybe he's busy or something. Let's have Isaleko. I muted you. Please unmute Isaleko, then we'll go to Ruby Vest.
Yeah, Ẹkáàsán, àmọ́ mọ̀ pé ti gbé mi sókè.
Ẹkáàbọ.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. You see, like, I have this problem. It's not just about speaking Yoruba or educating your children. Ìgbà míì wà, ìjẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá. You find out that some of these kids that are being raised in diaspora, they are even more Yoruba than some of our kids in Nigeria. I'm talking about Folarin now. Folarin that went to Maso Yibo that had almost like minus 200,000. It's annoying. And bá máa wò ọmọ eléèyàn ni wọn àwọn bàbá wọn ló ń darí wa bọ ṣé àwọn bàbá wọn ìjẹ́ Yorùbá tó wà lára wọn ṣọpọ sáwọn ọmọ wọn lára èèyàn kan ní pé ìyá ẹ̀ ló yẹ kó bá wí I will agree partially because nílẹ̀ Yorùbá àwọn obìnrin ló máa ń wà pẹ̀lú ọmọ báwo ló ṣe tọ́ ṣé kò gbàgbọ́ yé èdè kò mọ̀ or he does not understand the backstory behind the Èmi Lokan. Irú wọn like when they keep pandering tó bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lọ máa ládìí àwọn ará bíbà yìí tó rọ́ fẹ́ máa ṣe kinní ìwà tó máa wù nìyẹn ṣé torí owó ni or to what extent or to what end la máa continue ìtorí ẹ̀ ni each time tí n bá ń wá bíbá mo máa sọ fún wa mo dẹ̀ máa rọ̀ wá mo máa bẹ̀ wá ìjẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá wa a gbúdọ̀ mú tó bá ní pé ẹwà tribalistic kò ń ṣe èébú. When next I'm coming to Nigeria, I'm printing a shirt and I'll write a Yoruba bigot àbí Yoruba tribalist. Màá wọ kọjá airport. Ẹni tó bá máa dì mí mú kó dì mí mú nǹkan tí mo jẹ́ ni. Ṣé mi ní múra mi? I will choose myself over everybody. That's been tribal. And Nigeria is a tribal or ancestral space àwọn èèyàn. So why tẹ́ ṣe fẹ́ pa èdè mi àti ìṣe mi run? It's just annoying when I see some of these guys. And èèyàn kan wálé nǹkan tó ní ọmọ olówó òdùrú làwọn. I just want to say that's where Obasanjo is from. Ọmọ ń kí wọn pé ọmọ olówó òdùrú ọmọ ají fi gbé ṣeré òun rọ́rọ́ àwí mẹ́nu kúrò ní tòwú like tó bá ti ṣara òru. Ẹ rí pé bàbá yẹn kò forgive Àtíkù àtàwọn Fáyọ̀ṣe dọ̀la. Ó ti lóun ti forgive wọn rádà bọ̀ bàbá yìí ń rán ro àbó yìí ń mẹ́nu ó yìí ń tẹnu mọ́rọ̀ yẹn mi ní ṣèkà fún ẹ ó ti tán Bùsú yìí ló ṣe nǹkan kan báyìí ó máa tún sọ tó bá tún láti sọ bọ̀ bàbá ẹlẹ́ ti foríjì mi ti foríjì ẹ̀ ṣé kí n má sọ ni. That's how they are. So ẹ ṣe gan iṣẹ́ yín like me and my cousin Tunde. He used to come here. He introduced me to this platform, and we go about and they'll be like, "I want Yoruba conservative today, like your footprint is everywhere. Like some of us, your students, me I'm more because me I'm like more Lagos Islander and the Benin people. More what? That. With the like of Olabola and Professor Remy, Latori X was but then to bother politics now, we've learned a lot from you and boy Shadra learn con like Ọlọ́run bá lọ bẹ lẹ́sàn ẹ̀sán yín kò ń ṣọ̀run nìkan o Ọlọ́run aṣọ yín lẹ́sàn láyé aṣọ yín lẹ́sàn lọ́run because ó lójú èèyàn tó lè ṣàmì àdúrà yẹn tó bá ní pé kí iṣẹ́ ọwọ́ ẹ̀ kó dájọ́ fún ẹ. Èèyàn tó bá sọ pé kí iṣẹ́ ọwọ́ ẹ̀ dájọ́ fún ẹ ó ti ṣe nǹkan dáadáa ni èèyàn tí ó bá mọ̀ pé iṣẹ́ ọwọ́ òun ò dáa kò ní lè gbà kò ní lè ṣàmì ẹ̀ bọ́lá pé ẹ fẹ́ kí ìrànrọ́ wa parun. And I think back then like post-COVID, I used to like listen to you in Clubhouse one kind. When someone came last week, I'll be like, see, you've changed you. And I'm like, okay. I do quite follow. I do quite. Àwọn people here like agbára òjò ni wọ́n láwọn oníléwó. Onílé ni òní gbà. Because I remember you then, you had this Jésù kan pé ẹ má ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. Yánmírín ewúrẹ́ ni yánmírín kò ní gbà tẹ́ bá nà án bíbá yóò tún máa padà wá ni yóò ti gé wọn létí náà. Ẹ ṣe gan prof, it's good like adúpẹ́ fọlọ́ adúpẹ́ àwọn máa ṣe dáadáa and like I told one of my brother Baba Awori, this is a process like we have to like hand over the baton to the coming generation because there was lapses between the Akintola and Awolowo generation. Lapses in here like that break the civil war and everything. We stop the advocacy. We stop preaching. Sọ̀rọ̀ fún àwọn ọmọ wa kò jẹ́ kí àwọn bàbá tiwa gan kó lè pass nǹkan kan sí wa. We need to because àwọn arábí wọn ò dúró bóyá ń bí apalọ ni o lábẹ́ igi ni o níbi tó ti ń tajà ni o àwọn ìtàn òfò ìtàn tí ò tiẹ̀ gbára wọn mú wọ́n máa mú 1960 wọ́n máa fi join 1920 kìíní kan wọ́n dẹ̀ máa sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà wọ́n máa sọ lọ tó wá sọ pé like ọ̀gbẹ́ni báwo l'Odùduwà àtọ̀rànmíyàn àti Àhólẹ̀ ṣe pàdé nínú sítórì ẹ̀ bóyá máa sọ nìyẹn pé gbà táwọn ń bọ̀ láti Egypt táwọn dé kìíní táwọn dé Ilé-Ifẹ̀ Ọbàtálá lé àwọn Ọ̀rànmíyàn náà wá pọ̀ṣù àwọn dànù and be like but this anachronism time tó ń gbé sí kò tiẹ̀ jọra wọn wá ìkan sọ mọ́ story mọ́ remi mo dẹ̀ ń wò pé like ẹ gbà wá nítorí Ọlọ́run but tá a bá mọ̀ èèyàn tí ò mọ̀ kàn máa larí mọ́ náà ni òun náà máa bá wọn lọ máa sọ kiri pé bó ṣe rí nìyẹn o ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run gbogbo wa kò sẹ́ni tó mú wá látọ̀run. I bought some books and I'm still buying books. Amaka, I used to exchange books with or like written document with Prof. we have to learn. Bó jẹ́ 1 hour lẹ máa dedicate a day. Bó jẹ́ why we struck lásán lẹ lè kà. Kọ́mọ Igbo má máa sọ fún yín pé Adéwálé Adémóyèga said kó má máa sọ fún yín ẹjọ́ ẹ kà. Ẹ̀yin fúnra yín máa rí. Àǹtẹ̀ bá máa rí story yẹn gan máa rí pé bàbá yẹn nǹkan tó ní lọ́kùn ẹ̀ ló ń sọ. Èròǹgbà ẹ̀dẹ̀ kọ́ ni nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀. Nǹkan tó máa mú yín lọ kàwé mi tẹ bá máa ka bí 3 4 àwọn èyí tó bá jọra wọn bẹ̀ máa rí pé òkè lè ìjọra wọn because Bengule ó wà ní north ó ń sọ nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí ò rí òun náà ń sọ èèyàn kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà kò possible north ló wà ó dẹ̀ ń sọ nǹkan tó ṣe wà lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ń sọ with authority ó tún lọ sọ lókùúta panel náà bẹ́ẹ̀ very arrogant and you don't know nothing about what happened in Lagos ìwọ fúnra rẹ̀ gan-an fi ẹ́ ha ni o sínú àwọn tó dá gbogbo kinní yẹn lẹ̀ nítorí ẹ̀ ni àwọn Professor Wọlé Ṣóyínká tó tẹ̀lé wọn tó ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lé wọn lórí ó padà fibi ṣú wọn ni ẹ̀yin èèyàn ẹ jẹ́ aṣọ́ra ká dira mú ìjẹ́ Yorùbá wa ẹ jẹ́ àdìmú ká má di àwọn Fọlárin àti Victor Banjo sídìpá ń tẹ̀lé àwọn èèyàn ẹ ṣé.
What do I say after all this now? I've not laughed this hard in a while. I mean, you said fantastic things like strong meat, but the way you delivered the thing, but I got the message. Esheun, thank you for that submission. That was brilliant. Oyemi. Isaleko. Esheun, thank you very much for wow. That was a lot. But very, I'll probably go and listen again on YouTube. He said something I was going to actually respond to. At this point, I don't even know where to start. So I just say maybe I'll listen to it. I'll listen to it again, and I'll know what to say next time. But I mean, fantastic speech. Two things though. Ejo Isaleko boy. Shawame. Ejo Romileti. Ejo. I'll try to remember, but Ejo Romileti Kini John Macpherson 1955 speech at Chatham House. I want to make the PDF available, but I need to do something.
You promise that?
Yeah. Yes.
Ẹjọ.
But yes,
Èèyàn kan wà lọ́rùn mi lórí ìwé yẹn. Èèyàn kan wà lọ́rùn mi lórí exact kìíní yẹn because I quoted it and wa.
Don't worry, I have it. It's just that the way it is, sometimes the way I get information, man shani. So I will make the PDF. Make the PDF available on Redomi Global.
My message again.
So somebody had asked for that book, and then he also did. And usually we don't, put out. And the reason, of course, because of copyright issues, but this one has no copyright stuff. It was a speech that was delivered by the Governor General at the time. Well, he used to be the Governor General before or after Arthur Richards? So he gave a speech in Chatham House in 1955 about the different ethnicities in Nigeria, and that speech is actually very powerful. So I read part of it, and people have been asking. I think we can share it. So hopefully before tomorrow I'll be able to put it out. That's one. Number two, he also mentioned that we should read books, we should buy books. So if you want to buy books, let me give you a shameless plug. Please go to Redomi Books on Telegram. Redomi is spelled Redomi. In fact, on moving story, Redomi Books on Telegram. You have it's a bookshop. It's just online bookshop. You have all those books. You have books on Nigerian Civil War, biographies, all kinds of things. You even have free books. If you want free devotional, there's a free devotional that I publish every month. It's also there, Excel. But there are books that you can buy. All right. So the books will be shipped to you wherever you are in the world. The books are hard copies. The only ones that are soft copies, you see them there as well. But generally speaking, all the books you find there, apart from my books on Amazon, every other book you see there, we're going to ship it to you. Even the Amazon book now, they'll ship it to you if you want to buy a hard copy. So please check out Redomi Books because we need to all study and understand these things. I think tomorrow we should discuss history. I think we should. He has the way he was talking, just was mentioning Bengbule, mentioning Adewale Ademoyega, and so on and so forth. I think we should have some. I mean, thank God. I mean, we still have the security issues, and we're praying that things get better. But the reason we changed all this programming, the reason we changed our programming was, Oriire abduction. Along the chance want to come up with our list. So I think we can begin to maybe spend less time on the news and then or find a way to balance it like we used to do, but also not go beyond 8 o'clock. So tomorrow, by the grace of God, we will have a circle conversation. Thank you very much for spurring that. It's almost Aleko. Let's go to Ruby West, who will be our final speaker for today, and then we'll begin to call it today. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Bosuyi. How are you? Sorry, I'm out.
I'm very well. Good evening.
Thank you. Good day from the side of the world. Yeah, good day, sir. I'm actually at work, but I just need to chip in something briefly. I thank you for what you've been doing because you've really opened my eyes in particular to Yoruba. I used to be just leave it. We don't need all this. I always see all this agitation as wahala, tribal, whatever. But now you made me to see beyond that because these guys, Awarabi, Woni, Tabani pe kafi won sile, won ma da gbogbo eru, won ma ba ile wa je. So I got to now see things from a very different perspective, and on for Larry, I won't really blame him. I won't really blame him, but I will lay more blame on both folks' side, the mom and the father, more even of the father. The last speaker said the mother now blamed you. Please, let's take responsibility when things are wrong. It's the onus is on both the parents to educate the words. I don't want to say at this present age, both the parents are working. So there is no excuse for why the father did not teach you leave your job or you leave all the duty to the wife. No, it's both parent duty. And it's even more of the man because from all political events and all these recent rhetorics, I can see that the man is a bitter man. So I really don't want to go there. He's a bitter man. So when he's already passing it down to his family and they are showing it in all they do. So that's on the side. And please, Mr. Bosuyi, this Oriire adoption, thank God our kids are back. I still have some. We still need to treat this thing, particularly on the governor.
Please go on. Let's talk about it today.
Yeah, I'm actually at work. I wish I could. And again, I can see you're also rounding up. I wish we could. Maybe your other event, even if I'm at work, I will excuse myself. Your next, I will make sure that I prepare for it. Because this recent rhetorics of the governor, UN, to come and investigate. You are not calling on UN when the adoption took place. Not until after the release, you are not calling on UN. Is that not abosi? It's not a labosi attitude. So please, we need to. I want us, because we were a little bit scared towards the governor, but really, I want to give some jabs to the governor. That guy needs some kilorukwe. He needs it.
Exercise or borrow you bo.
Yeah. Mo wa so tu lori yen. Mo wa so tu.
No, you call. Sherry or join. That Friday, the kids were just released. So I was like, let's just celebrate that moment.
That day,
but when it comes to the governor, oh sorry. Yesterday, right? Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. We were talking about his whole UN and people actually spoke up about it, and I mean the context was different. I'm not against you criticizing the governor. It was just at that particular moment the kids were just released. I wanted us to celebrate that. But if you want to, I mean, feel free.
Yeah, I understand. On that particular day myself, I was emotional about the event. I want us to bask in the euphoria of the event. So, but on other days, we would need to jab this our governor tí ò gbọ́n yìí, I need àti jábẹ́, and they know that we are Yorubas. We don't do the way he is doing. Iṣẹ́ ọmọ àlè ló ń ṣe. Kì í ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ní Yorùbá land. Thank you so much, Mr. Bosuyi. Thank you. We
Wow,
appreciate what you
that your
do
jab,
every day.
that your jab can last for a very long time.
We need to jab him more. We need to jab him. I'm even expecting Yoruba people, people from Oyo State, kan ti jab man yìí ju bó ṣe yẹ lọ. I expect more. The hunger should be more from Oyo State people, particularly people like you. You need to do even house yẹn gan ó yẹ kán ti sọmọ ọ̀nà ẹ̀gbọ́n pẹ̀lú gbogbo àwọn stupid kí lorúkọ ẹ̀ tó ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní máa sọ ń sìn yìí. Let's not politicize some things. Some things should not be politicized at all. One kidnap or more, let's address it. This is not it's not, everything is not all about politics. But since he wants to do things the political way, let's do it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and very beautiful submission. The jab was jabbing. We talked about it, and like I said earlier, there's nothing wrong with criticizing our political leaders. I don't usually do that from the place of disdain, because I think I can criticize them and still, be positive about it. You get what I mean? But that we should not criticize them, and that would make me a psychopath. I think we can criticize, we can say what they're not, and I did yesterday when we were talking about Sheyi Makinde. And I said, and to his credit, I should also mention it, to his credit, he did not politicize it until afterwards, after the kids were released. That doesn't make it right either. And the idea that United Nations should come and help you probe something. I mean, it's a sovereign nation. Why didn't you call United Nations come and help you when the kids were there? I mean, the same sovereign nation took care of business. Why do you think the nation cannot probe this issue? And thankfully, about 8 people were arrested during that operation. So if you need intel, you can get it from those guys, and hopefully something will come out of it. I mean, we know what happened in Owo the other day. All the people that were involved, I mean, the court has already ruled now, right? They are going to be killed. They'll be sentenced to death. All right, it's not a joke. This one's too most likely got to mark because on Dumbo and on camera, like we all saw it. So I mean, I hope, I wish he didn't go that route, but again, he's trying to become the president. He wants to become president, so maybe he feels that that's a very good way to start up whatever he wanted to accomplish. I don't know if I don't think that's a very good way. It doesn't even. It's not a very good thing to do at all. But yeah, when you are prepared, you will have your chance to criticize him however you want, like some people did yesterday, particularly because of the things that he started saying afterwards. Logic Vector says President of Oyo State. No, President of Nigeria. Is running on APM platform. Mr. Tokwa Jala on YouTube, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Citizen Al Nasir Abdullahi on Facebook, thank you very much. Tenny Daniel on YouTube, thank you, sir. Or ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly, but Tenny sounds like Teniola. So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. I did Dayo Fatoki on YouTube. Thank you, sir, for your message. Adiadigun, thank you. GK Koma, thanks for the gift. All right, beautiful. So it's been an interesting conversation. Sinche says, who knows the... No, now. Okay, at this point, I cannot say these things. And I will tell you why. Because you also, one has to have, like, evidence. It's like what that girl did the other day when he said Tinubu was the one that was responsible for our abduction. Oh, yeah, come and show us evidence. And by the way, I'm still calling on DSS. They have to ask her. We need to use social media responsibly. So when she was saying all of those things, they have to ask her. So I don't know who was responsible for the kidnap. What we know though, and I think we should also say this before we leave, what we know is that the group that abducted children in Oriire local government and the teachers, they actually connected with Al Qaeda. And we talked about this yesterday, so I don't want to go back to it, right? And many of them have been neutralized in the operation. When they had the kids in their in their hands or in their what's the word now, in their den. Ansaru, thank you, Lamli. Yeah, Ansaru, who is also connected. So they are Ansaru, but they're connected to Al Qaeda. And when they abducted these children and they were, trying to negotiate with the government, they wanted to get the leaders released, and government is saying no because, by the way, I'm not sure we talked about this yesterday, but just in case you don't know, those people that they were asking Nigeria to release were people, I mean, they were kingpins, right? There were folks who have been on the American radar for the last 13 years. The United States government have been trying to arrest those same people for about 13 years, and Nigeria succeeded in arresting them. I mean, people that are talking about Lokan and using it as a jab, whatever, they wouldn't know that part of the story. So Nigeria succeeded in that one. Again, Nigeria succeeded in some things, so it's not everything that we are bad at. Thank you very much, Yoruba Heritage, for the gift. I really appreciate it. Money gone. Thanks a lot. So Nigeria succeeded in doing that. They now came and said, oh, they wanted the release of the leaders. Nigeria says no. The government then deployed different tactics and strategy to ensure that their own family members across Nigeria, particularly in the north, were rounded up. So they called the terrorists, right, that if they do anything to anybody in the camp, just like they did to the first person, Mr. Michael, that if they do something like that again, they're going to start killing their own family members as well. Beautiful thing that happened, in terms of how they were able to, and by the way, while they were doing that, they also surrounded they blocked every exit, right? Which is why the videos saying that, oh, they've carried people from Oyo to Kaduna by people. DSS also has to invite those people to come and explain whether it was in their gym or they're playing video game. People move from Oyo to Kaduna. All these things need to help us so that we can use social media responsibly. I don't think anybody's against anybody's freedom of speech, but the idea that we just spread misinformation and disinformation intentionally, I don't think it's cool at all. All right. I think we can call it a day now. So today is a bit early, but let's make it one of those days. Thank you very much for being part of today's session. Again, please check out Redomi Global on Telegram. Thank you so much, Tidan, for that gift. I really appreciate it. Okay. So please check out Redomi Global on Telegram and also Linktree, Pusui Oris. That's the 2 Summit thing. And, support, join the movement. We'll talk more about it. And then the reason I'm also not going to the details because the event is going to be in September. All right. September will be the very first edition. And then by the grace of God, we will continue to have it monthly afterwards. All right. I'm just going to read some of the comments here before we go. Sinchin says, we just hope that the government will avail us details of the perpetrators. Absolutely. I support you in that. 1 second. Somebody has been trying to come up. I'm just going to hear love for all, and then we'll call it a day. Good evening, love for all. Love for all, are you there? You sent a request. Oh boy. I love you too, but we can't take you because the audio is not very good. All right. And everybody who is spreading the message, please let me just quickly say this. I need to say this because I know that people said, let's try and take some time to study things before we speak on them. I saw a clip of a young girl who did a video and saying that Yoruba people, what we call dialects, are actually different languages, just going all over the place talking history. I think it's important to study before we teach. So please, let's try and do that. We're all learning. Well, it's a process. We're all learning, and it never ends. But please, let's try and learn more before we share these things. So what we are saying is actually true, okay, and it's rooted in facts. Thank you very much. So I'm going to like to thank everybody who came up earlier to speak. People like Bumblebee and the rest of them who have gone down, and also those who are still here. Madam Mimi, my battlefield, Ruby Vest, Isale Cowboy, and everyone else. Thank you so much for coming up and for sharing your thoughts. I'm going to take everybody down now so that we can end the live. All right. And while I'm doing that, if I see any comments, I'll probably just read it. There's some things happening right now, but if I start reading it now, I need Chromie. And today is one rare day that we are ending before 8. So let me bask in that, like Ruby Verse said. 1 second. All right, thank you so much for being part of today's session. Everybody who tabbed and liked and shared and commented, thank you so much for your support and for being here. And to those who came up to speak as well, thank you very much. All the gifters on TikTok and on YouTube, Odwakala, Tida, and every single person, I really appreciate all of you for every single gift. Madam Mimi, I also saw your gift earlier. I may not call everybody, but I really appreciate your generosity. Someone says VDM is not achieved. I saw the video. I think it was in Iwo. It is well. It is well. I mean, he's tried. He has tried. So if people want to recognize him, that's also beautiful. It's just that I'm not hearing many good news from Iwo these days, but I hope things will get better. Hello? Love for all. Maybe it's your device. But let me ask just before we go, just to be sure we're good. Every other person, please, is the audio good? Oh, your audio is very bad, not this one. I think it's from your end. But we're good here. But again, if you're listening, please let me know if the audio is good. The audio is good, I'll be okay, thank you. So that tomorrow we'll just continue. We found a way to work around the setup, and I think it's working for us. So just continue with this. Thank you very much, everyone. My battlefield, Tidan, Madam Mimi, Olusegun Sekumadi. Thank you so much. All right, let's call it a day now. Everyone, thank you for being here. We'll meet again tomorrow. In case you join us for the first time, we have these sessions every weekday, Mondays to Fridays, 4 p.m. if we're time West African time. So we will be here tomorrow, Thursday, to have another conversation. We'll do the news and hopefully also get into some politics. I'm thinking either going the route of John McPherson's speech that he wrote, I think will help us understand Nigeria a bit better, or to revisit some things in the Nigerian Civil War and the coup. We'll see how that goes by tomorrow. I will know before tomorrow anyway. So when we come together, we'll have a great time together. But before we go today, and the Yoruba anthem. I can't find the Nigerian anthem. Wow. You know what? I want somebody else to speak so I can find the anthem. I have to find the anthem. Mumbo. Look again, yo. Oh dear. I know what happened. I can't find it. I think it's Ini. I hope I find it. I hope it's the one. Oh, this is so sad. Someone said we used to vote for which topic. You stop doing that. Okay, so let's do that while I search for this. What would you? I was going to use this to, All right. So what would you like us to talk about, Isale Cowboy? So most times I will say this or that, but maybe I'll just listen to you and then we'll pick something. Well, I'm glad we found that. That didn't take a lot of time at all. Do you want to do that? Okay, let's do it this way. Whatever you want me to talk about, of course, I'm not going to do everything one day. I'll just take a list. I mean, I'll write it down, then we'll walk around it. So if you're here and you have a topic in mind, please write in the comment section. Anybody, you You can write whatever it is. And TEA just joined us. By the way, they talked about Isaleko boy talked about TEA, so it's good to have you join us now. That's wonderful. All right, you know what? Let's listen to it looks like it's a Saleko boy that wants to tell us something to read. But if you have any ideas, feel free to share. We'll talk about it later. All right. So let's have the anthem, and then we will have your anthem. Take a listen. Oh, you've been here.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land, the tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle, honor, and this we count as gain. To hand up to our children a banner without stain. Oh, God of all creation, when this our one good was, help us to build our nation when no man is oppressed, and show with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. Nigeria may be
Àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀, ìmọ́lẹ̀ wọ̀ ni wọ́ọ̀kùn lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní bàjẹ́ ọ, Nàìjíríà náà ò ní bàjẹ́. Ilẹ̀ wa máa gbèrú sí ni lágbára Ọlọ́run. Nǹkan tó bá dáwọ́ lé a máa yọrí sí rere. Ilé ò ní lé wa, ọ̀nà ò ní ná wa. May God bless you. May God keep you. And may God bless our country, Nigeria, and our nation, Yoruba land. Thank you so much for being part of today's session. Thank you for being part of today's session. I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. So have a lovely evening and see you tomorrow. Eshio Odaro. God bless you.